Yes, good afternoon. It's a Wednesday, and I know some of you were thinking that maybe I might not come live to discuss issues relating to our country, relating to politics. And I want to start by congratulating the UPND for scooping Sesheke by-elections. I've not, sat down to analyze the elections results from different areas, but I know PF has done well in some areas. I know they have gotten Isoka and other places. Anyway, I have not analyzed that because I've been very busy preparing myself for tomorrow. Tomorrow for me is a big day. Tomorrow is a big day for me, so I've been preparing myself for tomorrow. So, but if I can just say a few words, apart from this, if I can say a few words, the number one thing is that I want to congratulate the UPND for scooping Sesheke by-elections. Of course, this time around, you can be happy. I've eaten a humble pie. I've eaten a humble pie. I really wanted the PF to win that election. That is just a fact. I won't lie. I wanted PF to win that by-elections because, you see, Western Province, if you look even in the general elections, we didn't do very well. PF didn't do very well. So it would be good if PF, gained some grounds in Western Province, because the people of Western Province, I don't think you can accuse them of being tribal. That is one thing. I'm sorry to say, you can talk about regionalism, but the Lozis, no, the Lozis are not so, they are not to say it's about wako kind of thing. I think from my point of view, if they are independent people, in this country, it's the Lozis. The Lozis, if you convince them about something, they will go with you. They are more reasonable. We can't run away from discussing these things. But but from my point of view, I think Lozis, they are more reasonable. If you can convince them, they will rally with you. It's about reason. You convince them. Once you convince them, I think they can run with you. And you can look even in the history of the Barose land. It's about convincing them. Once you convince them, that's it. So them losing, PF losing that by-election is not very good. Of course, like I've said, I've not sat down to really analyze, the whole thing. I hope I will have time later to discuss that, but definitely it's not going to be in the next few days, because the next few days I will be really, into something else. But what has come out, I was thinking that the PF would simply congratulate the UPND and leave it there. But I've gotten a statement where I'm getting it from the media that the Secretary General for PF wants to petition that by-election. I think that is not a good idea. Especially based on the issue that they have advanced, that because of the violence that was there. I think we need to be fair. We need to be objective. In as much as I really hold UPND, to be violent, because they have beaten me before and I've seen how they unleash violence. But we can also not run away from the fact that PF can also be violent. This is a fact. Yes, UPND is violent, but PF can also be violent. PF can be violent. And petitioning a by-election based on violence from a political party that is also violent, I don't think that is right. So Davis Mwila need to reconsider his position, to think of petitioning that by-election. I don't think it holds water. It just can't hold water. I mean, we have people that are in custody right now, if they have not removed them, who were from Lusaka. You know, I don't want to mention names, but people who were from Lusaka. I know even UPND had also people in Sesheke. They also ferried people. UPND, PF, they ferried people into Sesheke. And these are the people that were fighting. Most of the times, the people that go and fight in these areas, they are not indigenous people. It is the people from Lusaka, the people who were in lodges, people who were sitting in these camps, who were sleeping in the camps. They were sleeping in the camps because they don't belong there. The owners themselves, they were sleeping in the houses. The first time that we heard that the police raided the UPND camp and beat up whatever cadres, it was where they were sleeping. And these are people coming from somewhere else. You know, these are the people that had the confrontation with the police. Next, it was the UPND at that council lodge. So how does Davis Mwila contemplate petitioning an election when, I mean, both political parties were violent? You can say, no, they did more or whatever, but at the end of the day, both PF and UPND, they were violent. And for the first time, I think I should congratulate the police. I think the police acted very well in Sesheke. You know, I don't see them. They were impartial. They were impartial, and that is how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. So for me, I commend the police that they managed to pounce on you know, the PF and the UPND, and that is clear evidence from my point of view that both political parties were engaged in violence. Therefore, it doesn't make sense for Mwila to go and petition that by-election. It doesn't make sense. And though I have not even gone to analyze the elections results as they were coming, but from the little that I've seen, I mean, you can't say UPND have fraudulently won this election. I mean, clearly they were just beaten. PF were just beaten. And in this case, I mean, since I supported PF, I must say that I'm also part of it. So let us just congratulate the UPND and forget about it. This issue of talking about violence, instead of talking about violence retrogressively from the past, I think we should be progressive. Let us be thinking in future, how can we, you know, avoid violence? I think that's what should be lingering or preoccupying everyone at the moment. How can we prevent violence? That is what we should be looking at. Not looking behind what and petitioning. It doesn't just, it's not helpful, you know. Then the other point is also to say, I mean, we have already passed halfway of these elections. We have already passed halfway of these elections. So this young man who has been voted, let him just go and enjoy parliament. Instead of troubling him with, you know, going to court and what, let the young man go to parliament and, you know, have that experience. Expose him. Don't start victimizing him with court issues. I mean, the time is just not there. It's just not there. I think really for the SG of PF to be contemplating petitioning, I think it's a misplacement of priorities. It is a misplacement of priorities. I think Mwila should be thinking, how can we penetrate Western Province? How can we penetrate Western Province? Of course, they are doing well. They are not doing so bad. Look, they just got Mangango. Remember, Mangango is part of Western Province. So that was good. But they need to analyze these results. They really need to sit, analyze these results. What does it mean? What is it that they need to do? You know, so that come 2021, I mean, things might change. Because if you sit today and analyze, you know, the Zambia in terms of elections, you know, the geopolitics of Zambia at the moment, I think PF needs to have something to worry about. I already spoke in one of my articles. I said Southern Province is still intact for UPND. Southern Province is still intact for UPND. What about PF? Is PF still intact in Lusaka? Is PF still intact in Copperbelt? You know, you already saw what happened in Chililawombwe. That is something that we need to look at. Okay? How is it that if you see Chililawombwe, UPND has closed up very, very much? And surely from what is coming from the Copperbelt, I mean, it should raise some concerns on the PF. Then when you go to Muchinga, Luapula, and so on and so forth from that area, I mean, there are issues there. The issues of farming, you know, farming input. The other day, I was talking to our coordinator in Muchinga, because some of you think that we don't have members, but our coordinator in Muchinga, Desmond, informed me, and he said people here are president, they are complaining on the agriculture input. People have not received the agriculture input, especially the fertilizer. Then the agro dealers also, they are complaining. They have not been paid their money. So these issues should be preoccupying the mind of the Secretary General of PF instead of thinking of wasting time in court. These are issues that Mwila should be thinking of. These are things that Mwila should be thinking of. Really, to be thinking of petitioning an election when we are just I don't know if it is not even 18 months or so before the elections. I don't think that is reasonable. I don't think that is reasonable. So, the PF ninchwamuletamba landena wabamwila. Let him not waste time in court. You just congratulate the UPND and start organizing yourselves. Start organizing yourselves, because what may come out of 2021 might not be good for all of us. It might not be good for all of us. It might not be good for all of us. I know the UPND would not want to. They look at me like a foreigner. So they would not want to have me in my Kalitu house when they win an election. So that's why if I had the resources, I'm telling you, I would be speaking a different language. But I'm realistic. All I have is just me. I don't have resources. If I had resources, it would be a different scenario. But at the moment, I think the PF, you are my only ally. My security is in you. Guys, I don't think utna mwikala Muzambia teti mwikale yo. So organize yourself Mwila mwituleterera. I am a petition mwatampa awe. Let us do something more progressive. This issue of dialogue is something that we need to look at, because in that dialogue we can discuss the issue of violence, you know, and the only way we can finish the electoral violence is by giving ECZ powers to disqualify, violent political parties. That's what we need. Because if you look at it, if ECZ was actually independent and had powers, I don't think both PF and UPND would have survived that election. They would have been disqualified. Because both political parties were violent. They were violent. So let us change. But Davis, you're trying to correct. You know what I mean? Why do you try to show intelligence over little things? You know what I mean. I mean petitioning. Petitioning, of course, it's the autocorrection that brought that. So you know what I mean. So don't try to be trying to flex your muscles over nothing. Anyway, I think that is my point. I don't want to say a lot of things. I'll leave it there to say I think PF has got more work to do, more important things to look at than taking the young man to court. Let the young man enjoy himself. Let him go to parliament and just enjoy himself. This issue of petitioning, it will be a sheer waste of time. Let us see how we can change things. How we can change things. Start thinking to say, how can we, finance Tayali so that he can help us? This is what you should be thinking of. This is what you should be thinking of. How can we finance Tayali so that Tayali can help us to campaign? Because people are saying, hey, PF is paying you, PF is paying me. You don't pay me anything. But I want to help you, because if I help you, then I also survive. If I don't help you, I'm in trouble. So let us start working together and see how we can change things. I'm telling you, I can imagine. I can imagine. Let us not play around. Even to tafiri buinoka, tent pose kwa man. Tent pose kwa man over. So let pose kwa man. I think let me leave it there. We need to organize ourselves. Let us put our acts together and see to it that we guarantee 2021. 2021 kuti yaisa pita ngefine Sesheke yapita. For ingesa pita, so it's very possible. Arabi ali dawa. Na ikalam state house fiachinje fintu. If into tafiri stable, nothing tafiri, because even if a PF they are complaining. The PF, a number of PF, they are frustrated. Some of them are frustrated. So some of you say, hey, Tayali bala kulishamo. Imagine if a PF they are complaining. What about me? What about me? A lot of PF members are going, to some of these political parties, because they are frustrated. And that's what should be preoccupying Mwila. Inenda fishing. Abengiba PF bala ilishanya kuli ine. They talk. When I meet some of these people, they just that, they can't just come out, And no, things are okay. Posen kwa man. I want to stay here nicely. I want to take over from Edgar Lungu. That's what I want. But if you don't play around, if you don't do it well, HH might take over and Ngasa take over tafyaka wamwe. Nalanda sana na ya bye. Tuke salanda kupamande. Good day.